Okay. So, when we last left off, it was the last day of the year 1939. The group had been invited with filigree letters to the grand ball. The Queen herself, however, was due to make a late appearance. And as you arrived to a ballroom filled with nobles and knights, many of which were holding crests to an order you knew to be the enemy, you were tensely guided to friends, first by Prince and then by Valerie, and then at last by Vashti, the liaison to Brave Albion, who you had met but a week prior. The Fire Genasi, with her caramel skin and her long, elegant red and gold trimmed dress, guided you across the walkway behind the throne, where you could see it still empty, being guarded by Lady Lysandra, another newfound ally, who nodded her head to you in recognition, but returned her gaze to the courtroom at large. You met one Barak the Thunderbolt, a heroic figure, probably half Goliath, with deeply tanned skin and a big, thick, wiry beard. He stands about 9.5 feet tall, with broad shoulders and this attire that very clearly speaks to his lineage from Akarat. He's warm and familiar, recognizing Hanu and embracing her in a hug. But he's not alone. In his company is one Demetria, a pale, slender character. Human, but with the same kind of color-sapped visage that is familiar to you, having seen other Lasarn, but as well through your own friend, Zale, who, of course, approached him in conversation, perhaps seeking some sort of connection with somebody that seemed disposed towards the arcane and had a similar appearance. Instead, he was met with mostly very subdued hostility and accusations, as one prod after the other set them into a bit of an argument as Zale got momentarily irritated with this figure before Demetrius came back and apologized for his friend, writing it off as being merely a protective nature that he had. Around this time, a note was slipped to Zale, though he didn't manage to catch who had managed to put it into his hand. He looked it over and was shocked by its implication. Somebody knew who Saint Ava was, and they were threatening to go out with this. Unless, of course, they were met alone in the garden. Zale, however, did not choose to go alone. Informing his allies quietly and discreetly of the note, before slipping out with a distraction made by Hanu and by their newfound ally, Ember, who used his innate connection to fire as a fire genasi to crackle pyrotechnics from the candelabras over everybody's heads. Zale and Babette slipped out through the door and into the maze-like garden behind the palace. As Babette made herself invisible underneath her parasol, she stayed a little bit behind as Zale moved through the maze, before at last coming across the figure that sought to blackmail the group with the knowledge that they had. As their demands started to seem more and more unreasonable, there was a surprise as Prince wandered his way into the group. He feigned ignorance as to what was going on before sussing out the nature of the ordeal and quite deceptively and suddenly kicking the figure of this gnome right into a nearby man-eating plant, which instantly swallowed the gnome whole. As he turned to Zale, he demanded that perhaps it was time that he be informed of a little bit more on what was going on with the group. And as Zale caught him up to speed on the current threats that faced them, including the Order of Asmodeus, he informed Zale that was quite an enemy to pick, considering the shadow leader of this group, its old lineage, could be traced back to none other than Garen Lionscrest, the leader of most famously the Lion's Guard, the elite guard of the Queen herself. With this concerning news in mind, you made your way back into the ball. At this point in time, the throne had been taken, as the princess sat down upon it and addressed the entire throne room. She spoke of positivity and of enjoying the party and apologized for her mother's tardiness, ensuring them that it must be because of her gallant efforts fighting in the war, before opening it up so that the gardens and the rest of the palace could be readily explored and walked throughout. As the doors opened up and the crowds milled around, there's a brief interruption as trumpets sounded off once more. Hanu and Zale, who had been in conversation with diplomats from Xiaola, discovering a strange connection between their new ally Wander and a group of famous heroes from Xiaola, found themselves turning to look as the trumpet sounded and a whole group of knights on spectral horses rode in through the front doors. As the horses vanished out from underneath their feet, they landed in quick strides, and you saw as the queen herself, armor-clad, blood and grime still from the front lines on her armor, grabbed a nearby goblet, took a swig, and made comments on the music being too old. As she sat herself down upon her throne, one of the nobles in the nearby ranks, asked about how the war was fared. To which she responded that it was strange that he managed to make his way out from his vacation home. He said, "Oh, it's not that far," and that he brought a bottle, in fact, from his vineyard, as if to gloat or seek some sort of favor with the queen, something she was clearly not having, as she declared that she had bought his vineyard and brought her own bottles. In fact, she had brought bottles from all of the vineyards she had bought. As servants walked out into the palace, they all carried platters with a single wine bottle on it, each from a different vineyard, all from estates that she had bought from nobles in that very room. As outrage spilled out amongst them, she gave scathing remarks on their ideas of honor. As she, at the same moment, commended the knights that she had rode in on, those of common birth that she was now awarding these estates as retirement homes. With that quick, scathing statement, she turned to your group, asking Zale to get a hold of his wife Wisteria so that her band might show them some real Arvalian culture, she challenged Zarman to a duel so as they might be able to entertain them before the band arrived. They sparred for some time, lightly testing each other's defenses and range, before a sudden burst of activity came from them. Zarman's sword spilling out divine light between the edges of the fabric that holds it together. Strike, shove, attempts to trip, and then suddenly Zarman is on his back. And as it looks like she's going in for the killing strike, you see as instead the sharp point of Zarman's blade rests just in front of her. Stillness hangs over the crowd. Then she jams the blade right into the ground next to her, splitting the marble as if it were nothing. And with it, uses it as leverage to lift Zarman up off the ground, turning to make a statement about what true honor and courage looks like when held by a real knight. Before thanking Zarman for the duel and returning to the throne. The band kicks off in full gear, and she informs you that she would like you to remain at least another hour until after the main event so that she might speak to you about urgent. Before settling back to deal with the currying favor of nobles who walk in between the knights that she brought with her, many of them trying to now curry favor with knights who own the very estates that have been taken from them. She leans back with a satisfied smirk. As you all gather back in your corner around the section where Barak is at, Vashti makes a remark of, "That is a curious way to lead indeed." A little wide-eyed.
Well, she might be tired at the moment. And remorse not so much there, considering where she's just come from.
Considering that carrying tradition all these years has brought us to this point, maybe something new can at least create a long-lasting change. At least within reason. I'm sure many follow tradition and don't realize that tradition is an anchor sinking them down into the depths where they've lost themselves and their history. What made their ancestry great.
I would say that if I were in Uruk still, I could see that. I mean, tradition is everything to a nation. They do not follow the Shah. They follow Ailamir, their ancestors' way. But here, Arvalians follow no one but their queen. He looks back up at the throne. Barak lets out a bullish laugh. Oh, and if there were more queens like that, we might actually get more things done.
She'll
No, I don't think most people with point of view, a lot of people try to stop them from taking seats like that. Sadly. A lot of people are scared of change.
You watch as nearby somebody splashes a wine glass right in somebody's face, and then that person just gets punched right in their face. As you see them like break out in this argument, one of the guards nearby instantly steps in and separates the two of them. And in that brief moment, as you see their fist connect with it, Hanu, your mind kind of like thinks back to the prior fight when you had been with Maya, and flashback scene. As you're in a cage room, there's the sounds of fighting around you. A couple of people being knocked up against a cage of chain link. And it's just this rattling and thundering of footsteps and shouts and people betting money. It's a place of sweat and dirt and blood. And it's exactly the kind of place that you know someone like Maya can get completely lost in. You can see her on the other side. She's sitting on a stool. She appears to be meditating. Who were you bringing with you when you...
Babette and Eliza.
Okay. Okay. So, as you walk in, you step across from her and she bows to you.
She bows
So-
in return.
Eliza bows.
Y'all would still be outside of the cage at this point in time. You watch as Hanu like steps down into this like cage thing. They open up a door. This big burly half orc is standing in front of it, and he kind of like closes it immediately as she goes in and puts this little bar across it. And you just hear like as like final shouts for bets go out. And on the opposite side of this 20 by 20 square pit of dirt inside of a chain link cage, you see Maya walk out, arms wrapped up. Her and Hanu bow to each other. And Hanu, you hear as she says to you, "You remember our arrangement, yes?"
Of course. That's why I don't want you to hold back.
I never hold back.
Excellent. I'm gonna give it my best. We'll see where that gets both of us. And then she'll
Okay.
just say in Aqua and let me be brave in the attempt. She finishes up tying the Muay Thai rope-esque gloves on her and takes her corner.
Okay. Athletics.
Okay.
Okay. Now, an attack roll with advantage.
Okay. Unarmed. Alright. Oops. Sorry, it's... Okay, unarmed strike.
Nice!
Oh yeah.
Fucking 20.
Oh yeah.
Roll for damage.
There would be that divine favor and yeah, divine strikes in there. So she knows she can't hit too much, so
Fuck, that's a nice hit though. 19 damage.
Okay. And then give me an athletics check.
Okay.
Okay. You see as you get this one really good hit in, and it rocks her so bad that she actually like falls back against the chain link. And then just as you're getting in to try and take advantage of that, you watch as both of her legs kick out towards you, and suddenly her feet are around your head, and she twists you, hits you down on the ground with it, and you watch as boom, boom, 2 hits come flying towards your face.
Damn, fucking fly
Um,
triangle.
and as she's now mounted on top of you and goes in with one. Okay, I didn't mean to hit that twice. So it would be 16 points of damage.
Okay.
And now go ahead and give me another athletics check.
Okay. Alright. Seems to go. Pressed it. Seems to be a little bit slow.
Oh, you're alright. I'll pop up eventually.
Let's do it again just for. Oh!
Ooh.
Shooting
Oh.
really high. You try to like buck her off from it, and it doesn't work. And you instead decide to go in and try and hit her with an elbow to force her off. So go ahead and give me an attack roll at disadvantage.
Alright.
23.
Okay, roll for damage.
Nice hit. Nice.
She's gonna.
Bunch strength.
How does she look health wise right now?
She is looking barely injured.
Okay. Well, she'll do a little extra love tap there. Put a little divine hit. Just to get her off.
Whoa, nice.
Okay.
Well, the hit was 12 total.
This was- So that was okay. And with that, give me another athletics check.
Ooh, not with disadvantage, sorry. That would be 17. Unless it was at disadvantage.
No, it's not.
Okay, then 17.
Okay. All right, you managed to buck her off of you. So she's like you're now like both laying on your side, and go ahead and give me an attack roll at advantage.
Not an actual 20!
Okay.
Ew!
Just tell her under my breath. Swimming turtle technique, dragon style.
All right.
So I kind of throw myself into an elbow strike before I get up.
Okay. Looking pretty injured. No. Another athletics check from you.
Okay, oh, sorry. 5.
Ooh.
Okay. You watch as you see suddenly she's coming down with like towards you with like these sort of like really rough knees, like she's slamming each of her knees forward, and she does it like once, twice, and then another time, and they all hit for 26 points of
Okay.
and with that, you hear as a bell ding 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 ends off. And okay. Let's look at what's your health status at right now?
I am at 56.
So are you considered injured yet?
Hovering over a token, it says injured.
Aha, okay. All right. Well, then y'all are both the same state of points right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. So you have to go in for another round on this. You can like restore things, but you can like restore as if you were doing like a short rest.
Okay. Alright, so I just...
Magical healing's not allowed, but you can like restore hit die.
Alright,
Yeah, take a short rest.
so she'll just take a few breaths and short rest. Let's see if this thing actually works. I don't know if that short rest button works or not, but she'll just spend a few hit dice. Nope, come on. Oh, there we go. I'll do, yeah. Let's see how 3 gets me. 28. Okay, 84. Might as well. Does she look like she's healing up a little bit too? Might go back to see if I can go back to max. No, I can only do half of my hit points, right?
She's looking like she caught her second wind.
Yeah. Alright, I can only do up to half of my hit dice anyway. So
Yeah, so you could do 4 die. You could do 1 more if you really wanted to.
yeah, I'll see where that gets me. Whoop. Oh, well, I don't fucking... well then. Yeah, let's just roll 1-8. Yeah, I'll only get...
4.
Yep, so 88.
Okay.
Just wipe some blood off her nose, flicks it off to the side.
All right, let's keep it a good, clean fight. And fight! All right, give me another athletics check.
Alright.
Okay. You see as she immediately goes in and sweeps both of your feet out, but she does it to where they're going the opposite direction. So it looks like you're about to do the splits. And as you're dropping down, she comes in for an uppercut on you. And she is going to do so at advantage. Okay. And as it hits, she is going to then try and kick you in the chest to get you to stumble backwards. And that one misses, however. As your stance having been widened, you'd learned at this point in time how to like widen your stance and get secure, and you steady yourself, and the foot hits you in the chest, and you kind of stay exactly stock still. But the uppercut did 9 points of damage.
Okay.
And with that, go ahead and give me another athletics check.
She's going to channel divinity to see if she can
Okay.
take a deep breath and kind of push through. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
nice.
Yeah, no. With that one, you succeed. What do you do to like gain like the positioning maneuver on this to
Okay.
lead into your attack?
So she had the foot is at the chest. She actually kind of shifts inwards, grabs the foot, pushes it aside, and then all of a sudden will do a kind of almost like she's going to do an uppercut with the elbow, but then come right back into the plumflower clinch. So she
Okay.
just slips in.
All right, with advantage.
Right. Okay. My unarmed strike, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Doesn't seem to go through.
She grabs your hand as you're trying to go in for the strike, and plants her feet down firmly whenever she hits the ground. And with that, another athletics. Mm-hmm. A lot. You notice that there are definitely a lot of shady elements here. I mean, it being an illegal fight, that's given. But go ahead and give me a perception check while you're watching this fight and looking at the crowd. As her feet come back down on the ground, you see as she actually like moves in close and goes in to try and pull you into this grapple from behind, like she pushes in like real close into your chest, right? And tightens herself up, and you see as she goes to grab her arm and try and throw you over her shoulder. And as she does so, as you hit the ground, you see as she also goes to bring her other foot up and right down onto your chest. And with that, she makes an attack roll with the advantage. It hits. As her foot hits you right on the nose, you feel as she then falls forward onto her knee to try and hit you on the throat into a clinch with her knee. And that is going to be another attack roll at advantage. The same exact number 3 times in a row. That's
Damn.
nuts.
Nice.
So 6, and then 13 points of damage. Okay. Another athletics check.
Alright. She's gonna push forward, channel divinity, see what happens, but nope.
Ugh.
Oof. Alright.
Gets rocked.
Yeah, you see as suddenly she's putting you down into this clinch with her knee, choking the air out of you. And with this, go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw.
12.
Okay, you're fine. And then just checking. I think I know what your thing is. Yeah, you're fine. And with that, give me another athletics check. This one is at disadvantage. No, it's not. Sorry, you passed the check.
Okay.
So just a regular athletics. All right, give me another Constitution saving throw.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. You succeed. Okay. And another athletics check. And another Constitution saving throw.
Yeah, she can't really do too much. I used to channel divinities. She's holding still.
Oh man, she's so hard to choke out though.
Yeah.
You just hear her curse mid. And another athletics. And another con.
Hanu's getting comfortable here at the Finger Legs.
It's getting comfortable. This is how I want to die. Death by Stu.
It's fine. It's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. And what was that perception check, by the way?
18.
18. You do notice somebody talking to the person that had been like, I guess like her fight coach or something, the one that she had been talking to when she went to her short rest. The people that he's been talking to since then, you can kind of recognize scarves on them that are scarlet. They're tucked underneath their like coats and stuff, hiding their affiliation, but you know that to be the calling card of Vox members. And then once more, athletics.
11.
Okay. And with that, we've got another athletics. You can feel your like vision starting to tunnel in. This one's at disadvantage.
Okay. Athletics at
Wait,
disadvantage?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
It would have been that, anyways.
3.
All right. Now
Constitution
make
join the thighs,
me
man.
another Constitution saving throw.
How do
Okay. He is going to
Holy.
spend a key point, a flurry of blows, and hit you a couple of times with some elbows.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep!
For 14 points of damage. And I need another athletics check from you at
Alright.
disadvantage.
Hey, we all know that's not gonna make a difference. Oh, never mind.
Hey! And
Whoa.
you see, she goes to make a couple of elbows, and then suddenly, like, as she went to go do that out of irritation, you found, like, the space you need, and you just push her right off of you. She hits the mat to your side, and you roll off to the other direction. Go ahead and give me an attack roll at disadvantage.
Yep. 8.
Oh,
Okay. As you're rolling out of the way, you try to make a kick out, but she had already rolled out of the way, and it was sort of a desperate one in the moment. Go ahead and give me athletics.
3.
oh,
Okay. And she nat 20'd. And so you see as this time she does that Black Widow running towards you, leaps up, legs around the head, twists around your body, and tries to throw you as hard as she can down towards the ground. And with you hit it, you take 8 points of bludgeoning damage. And with that, you're gonna make attack roll. For another 4 points of bludgeoning damage.
Alright.
Okay. Athletics.
Probably blood all over the eye. She just kind of winces just to try to see through it.
Is this her thigh?
Alright, that didn't go through. Try it again, 60.
16?
Okay. Versus. Oh, good shit. Okay, what do you do in this one?
Alright, so it's kind of tied, right? Like, it's kind of like a impromptu grapple, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna actually fall forward so she hits the ground, and as I kind of push off, I'm gonna slip my arm into where that grapple is, push it aside, and then roll back up to my feet as I do like a forward roll.
Okay, cool. Good shit. You see this. And go ahead and give me an attack roll at advantage.
Ooh, she's on the ground now too. Fuck. Ooh, yeah!
Oh,
Alright.
6.
And
Max
fine.
damage again.
Strike.
Nice, another 12.
Nice. Okay. All right.
How do I hold her own, mates?
Yeah.
Where's the
Yeah.
monk?
All right, I know.
In an
Okay.
fight.
She has one level of monk, okay?
Yeah, I
She's
know,
doing
I'm
fine,
just saying-
I guess.
I'm just saying, what level of monk? and you
Last
did
setup
great.
on this. So give me athletics.
Okay.
Ooh.
Another nat 20. You
Damn.
watch as once more. She goes in for the same thing and she goes, "Did you learn it last time?" Jumps up, other direction. And she does it from the other side and hits you down on the other side of the ground. And you take 8 points of bludgeoning damage.
Same numbers.
Yeah, and she's going to take another attack with advantage. Didn't need it for another 8 points of bludgeoning damage. And with that, go ahead and give me either an. Well, the bell's about to be called. All right, so you can either get a good hit in, or you could try and get her on the ground. Whichever one you think looks better when the bell gets called for you. At the moment, you're looking at her, and she's looking a lot less bloodied up than you are. You've gotten less hits in on the second round.
Just like, she's just gonna go in swinging.
Fuck yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and give me that attack roll. It's at no, it's flat. There we go.
Lucky for you, I don't back down. And she will. Boop, 11.
Nope. And just as your hand's about to go up, you hear the bell just go ding! Just a little too sluggish on your swing for it. Missed it by the bell. And you see as she looks at the hand, and then you see as suddenly her hand takes it and she lifts you up.
Takes it, pushes herself up, kind of sways a little bit, catches her feet down in a solid stance, wipes her nose. That's probably broken at this point from that hit.
You are very tough for a priest.
I'm a turtle, we have thick shells. And there's 3 of you right now. That's very, very impressive. I say, trying to sway my fingers to the 3 things that I see in front of her.
Medic. She like waves the healer over. And she looks at you. Don't forget our deal.
Can I have, like, something on there just as, like, the loser's pride? Can we just start training again? Because I kind of miss that, she says, looking in, like, slightly the opposite direction of where Maya actually is.
So the healer kind of like walks up and, this half elf, places this like towel over your shoulders, and then suddenly like, it's like happy like looking in your face, and you can see you as like you're looking past the healer right at her. You can hear the sound of your nose crack back into place as healing magic sets in, and she looks at you and just says, "Yes, you could probably use it. Tomorrow morning,
Okay.
we will train."
Alright. And what roll would it make so it looks like she isn't in a lot of pain with her nose getting cracked back into place? Is that a wisdom saving throw?
Con.
Okay.
Deception.
She's like, she's trying to be as
What
stoic
you've
as
been doing
possible.
this entire time, so
Yeah, fucking
there we
fine.
go.
She doesn't even flinch at her nose getting cracked back into place, and she just gives a curt nod.
Okay.
Eternally.
God, I love Hanu.
Turtle, she's just like, ow, but it doesn't even show.
I just love how atypical Claire she is. I love it.
Okay. Then she just sits back on her chair for a bit, tries to catch her breath until they tell her to get out of the ring. But she'll just look over to the crowd slightly, just scanning, see what's going on.
You see as she walks out of the cage, and, I guess her fight manager on the other side is still talking with these human and half-elf, male and female, the red scarves underneath their coats and their commoners' clothes, and as she walks up, the female in the group, the half-elf, says something, and you see as Maya doesn't even look in her direction, just takes this bottle of water and starts drinking out of it. And the person goes to place a hand on her shoulder, and you watch as suddenly the hand is being twisted back and that woman's face is being pressed into the chain. There's a brief look of hey from the male human. Before the person is let go, the half elf spits on the ground and she walks away, and you see as the short halfling that's her fight manager shakes his head and hands her this set of cash, right? Which she shoves into a bag and walks out to the other end of the thing. Yeah.
So walks up, grabs the towel, just gets the blood off of her. She just stumbles slightly down to where Eliza the better at. She passes by that whole scene to see if she can pick up anything, but other than that, she'll just continue walking.
Color me impressed, Hanu.
I'm colored red right now. Gives a lopsided grin.
Definitely something.
Sorry if I brought you out of your comfort zone, Eliza.
It's okay. No, it's alright.
You watch as suddenly somebody in the crowd right next to them gets a mug full of ale splashed into his face before he's punched with a haymaker, and we are back.
Mhm.
You see the Lion's Guard separating these two bickering nobles, and the memory of that fight fades from your mind, and
She rubs
You
her
see.
nose. It's like, oh.
Have we left then, or are we still?
no, we were doing a flashback to something that happened like a week before because we never had time to get to it.
Mhm.
Oh, dude, I was so confused. I was like, God damn it, I'm always missing things. I feel like I just time traveled. Okay.
Yeah, she was down to 24 health points.
Wow.
Well,
She got bonked very hard. Oh gosh.
You see as the as the diplomat from Jala walks past the garden snake approaching your group, and she comes up to you, Hanu, and says, "Did you care to go see the Luck Finder?"
Oh, wait, what?
To see
Oh, sorry,
another
yeah.
member of the Zodiac 13.
So I had zoned out so hard right now. Yeah, sure. I kind of
You
wanted
did
to.
look like you were ready to leave this room, or like perhaps you were already gone.
Kind of. It was that. Well, lead the way. Oh, Zale, you wanna come along? We're gonna see the Luck Finder. She'll mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Lead the way.
She goes to take you outside, and as she does, Vashti nods to the group and says that she has to speak to the queen momentarily. And as she steps away, she looks at you, Ember, and says, "I know that these are new comrades of yours, so their obligations are probably not your own. However, it would perhaps behoove you and them if you would wait to leave until they do."
He'll just give a nod.
She nods back and gives a polite, courteous bow to everybody else in the group and heads up towards the throne. Barak looks at you, Zarman, and he gives you this big old slap on the back that almost rocks you off of your feet and says, "So, when do I get a duel?" That was quite impressive.
I wouldn't know. Zorman's just, I'm not used to looking up this high.
How's it feel? How's it be so short to someone?
Well, I have made it a mission of mine to make sure that Hanu visits Cocytus. She should bring you, and perhaps we can have our duel then.
Zorman nods.
I can feel the excitement growing through my veins. The spark, the electricity. Can you feel it? The very idea of a true fight against a gallant knight. People will sing of it for ages. Ha ha ha. Don't you think so, Demetrius?
And Zorman is shrinking the ladder he got.
And
Oh.
Demetrius is sinking the louder he gets, and he's just
Just two equally
Zarman and
people.
Demetrius.
Yeah.
"Well, let's hope not," Demetrius remarks. And to which he just laughs boisterously. And you see as at that point in time, a figure walks up towards the group in these long white robes and this blackish scales across their skin. A dragonborn. Not sturdy and tall as, or not as sturdy and strong looking as Zarman or most dragonborn. They're a bit taller and a bit leaner, with this wizened kind of gray fleck black goatee that comes off from their snout, and these black horns that twist back behind their head. There's these arcane runes that are just going up and around those horns, changing and shifting between what looks to be standard arcane glyphs, but also do you recognize draconic an extent, but in such a nonsensical fashion that you can't really make out what it's supposed to mean. Their robes, white as well, are also with this draconic script floating across the lapels and the borders of it. Everything about them speaks. This is a wizard. But in case it wasn't enough, as they step forward, you see as Demetrius, probably eager to move away from the boisterous ideas of dueling coming from his friend, nods towards his direction and says, "Headmaster Zazdush, you honor us." At which point the Dragonborn looks at each of you and then looks at you, Zarman, and says, "That was an impressive display."
I felt like it could have done better.
Then perhaps you will live long enough to have even more impressive displays. Self-criticism can lead to growth, as long as it does not cripple us. He looks you up and down. What is your name?
Zar.
Your accent. It is unfamiliar.
Yeah, I grew up in the Cataricas.
The Kotari Coast. I have heard that there is strange and powerful magics down there. He looks at your sword. But to see it, an artifact like that, and how did it befall this fate?
Well, a series of events. It's difficult to explain.
You have been in the company of Perdwin Co. Difficult to explain. I am certain is the least of it. Looks at Demetrius, looks at Barak. Barak kind of like looks like a little meekish at the moment, and it's like, "How's it going, Zaz?" "Hello, Barak."
Making so
He
old
doesn't
and
even
say
look at
vibes.
him. He keeps his gaze the entire time on you, Zarman. And he says, "You will come to the Arcanum. We will talk."
Okay.
Nods and walks away.
Oh,
Was that
was-
abruptness there? Like, fuck, I hate Barack. Or did
Insight
he-
check.
Yeah,
You see, as Barack though lets out like a,
wolf.
"Oh, man, that man is, well, unapproachable is something I would not say about most people. I mean, Demetrius is my best friend." "Thanks," Demetrius says. "But I must agree. He is unsettling. What do you think that he wishes to speak to you about?"
Well, sword being one, probably trying to figure out where I came from. Even that I'm not too sure of either.
Hmm. It
Who knows?
is possible that he might have some answers. Maybe he recognized something in you. Unfortunately, he is one of the few minds that I am not privy to.
I appreciate the sentiment.
Nevertheless, be careful. He is one of the 12 Archmagi.
Oh.
And of them would rank among perhaps my least trusted. "Oh, that's just because he has such an inscrutable disposition. People say the same thing about you, Demetrius. I'm certain that he's a wonderful man. After all, why would Pridwin put him in charge of the Arcanum if he was not?"
Just kind of just like a kind of looked at Zell, kind of gives at that point. Like, really?
Oh, not quite sure.
What's
I
the
did
saying?
roll-
Keep your
I did
friends
roll-
close and your enemies closer.
I don't like it when it's put like that.
I don't know, that pops up now. I did roll insight too for Zell. I did make it public roll. It's 23. That was a sub roll.
That ideology to me sounds like a surefire way to ensure one always has enemies.
Well, I
Barack,
mean,
we
Babette
always
shrugs.
have enemies. It comes with the job. Yes, but one day, if we continue to do our jobs right, perhaps we will not have such enemies. After all, why else would we be fighting? There's no point in a war if one does not envision victory. With that, meanwhile, as you two walk through the garden, you pace a few spaces ahead, and you can see that the same garden that you just watched somebody get killed in is now being walked through by nobles drinking wine glasses and servants carrying trays of various snacks and foods, and none of them seem to have noticed, though it sets a bit of an nervous energy as you walk through the aisles and the hedgerows, the sounds of bard music carrying through, and the sound of Wisteria's band somehow being magically amplified throughout the garden by each of the floating lights.
Like, chill, bro. You take a deep breath.
Hmm? No, nothing. Just thinking.
It
Must
opens
be.
up to a small pond with a statue of the lovers in the middle, both of them holding wine bottles, and they're pouring water out from each side of the wine bottles. It's spilling into the fountain. And sitting in front of this fountain, you can see a figure, humanoid, with tall, bunny like ears standing up out. They're about 6 feet tall if you count the height of their ears, and they have a slender frame inside of these soft Jowlon silken robes that depict what looks to be a serene mountainside landscape. But the birds and plants within it are actually flying across the fountain. And as this figure is sitting there, they're tracing trails across the top of the water with one of their nails. The garden snake says, "To thee, I have brought some people that I believe would like to meet you, and that you may like to meet as well. They are from the adventuring group, the Stars and Seas Society. Though some call them, what is the word?
The paradoxes.
Yes." And looks back at Tuzi, who's still looking down at the water and hasn't even looked back in y'all's direction, still tracing lines across the trails. "Oh, yes. The ones from the sea."
Anu will give a very formal greeting in Jalan and gracious bow.
Mhm.
You watch as she stands up and a few drops of water just drip off one after the other into that pond and that trail she left behind. Just ding, splash, splash, until she turns and looks towards you, and you can see the biggest, darkest eyes you've ever seen, just drinking you guys in. Tuzi tilts her rabbit-like head, and the hard-to-read expression gives a low bow to both of you in turn. "It was you, was it not? You changed fate. I saw it."
Tilts her head a little bit confused, but narrows her eyes.
So kind of like light bulb kind of goes off in his head. It's like interesting.
It's quite the divination skills you possess. But of course, that is to be expected of Xiaola. Wise beyond everyone's years.
Oh, I wish, but no. We have long records. They go back and back and back.
Mm.
We've tracked the moons and the star. She leans down over the water, and you watch as she trails a line across it. And you can see that she's trailing a line of ripples across the moons reflected in the water. And as they kind of ripple away from the moons, she points towards the reflection that's kind of rippling out from the moon of Amoede, the smaller one that's sometimes not spotted. At this point, you can only really check out a crescent of it. And as it kind of ripples away from it, she goes, "But Amoede always knows. She's sensitive like that. The slightest changes."
She also tends to wander, unpredictable.
It only looks unpredictable because we don't know what makes the moons change.
Feel like it will only reveal itself to those that it either trusts or those that actually listen. Sometimes the ramblings of a supposed mad person have the most logic to them if you know where to look within the argument.
Sometimes it just takes a person to see between the ripples.
So, what did you change? And was it worth it?
Don't look behind me.
I feel as though I am being judged on a scale that I cannot comprehend, but I simply brought back a very old friend and member of the Stars and Seas. I feel like that was worth it. I've done enough in the world to let it flow to this point. Much of that I was helpless, or I was voiceless in that regard. But I won't back down from this.
Zella smile about this.
Anything that can be brought back has been brought back. If not here and now, then somewhere and somewhere.
Of course.
If it was beyond us, then we wouldn't even be able to change it. I was merely curious.
I will have you know.
Oh,
I was always going to try to accomplish this feat.
Some intercessor conversation. You succeeded. This is one of them.
But I apologize for my guardedness. Just gonna get a read on her.
you think something bad is going to happen in the near future. And you're worried. So terribly.
I don't know who has masks on, but what I do know is that all eyes will be gazing upon us. I'm fearful for that, but I always have been fearful for that. But I do believe that we are going to be growing stronger to push through those gazes, and we will take off those masks. Sure, the pressure on us might be a little bit amongst the deepest fathoms, but I'm gonna make sure that everything's gonna be okay. That is always my task, and this has only just increased it tenfold. And seeing visions, as I have a background as a seer, so of course I will always be hesitant. But there is that unknown, and if I try to drown in the unknown, of course it's going to take me. So sometimes you just need to have a little bit of faith, then you're able to pull yourself out. I will not waver.
I believe it. You make me think of someone, doesn't he? Looking at, or doesn't she? And looks at, the garden snake. And garden snake just says, who? He's worried and indomitable and wise. She goes, and you see the garden snake nods her head. Ah, Kumo. Yes, I can see it. At this point, you see as a figure that had been like trying to like walk by with a tray from one of the waiters held up next to their head, like gets called out as the rabbit folk seer goes, "Hi, Wander. I knew you were here." At which point he spins the little tray around and looks at it and goes, "Where did this come from?" "Oh, somebody's probably looking for this. Oh, wait, maybe it's like a frisbee. Anybody want to play frisbee?" Throws it off into the direction, into the maze, and goes, "Oh, no, I've got to go find it." And jumps right over the mage into the other direction, over the hedge, and out of sight.
She
I love
stares
Wander.
at that for a moment and slowly turns back. I would very much appreciate if I had a list of stories, very amusing, that I can use against her.
I
If
mean,
you
he
catch
seems
my
like he'll
drift.
escape. I mean, he seems like he'll escape those if you put that in that direction.
Oh, there are nothing but stories that are funny when it comes to Wander. Do you remember when he stole all of the peaches from the festival? And everybody was so mad. And the garden snake, says, "Yes, I remember." And, or when he accidentally knocked off that one Fletcher's house so it fell into the river. Yes, I remember.
She's looking
These are
between
actually
them.
quite stories.
I know, yeah, she's looking
Just
between them
like-
excitedly. Like,
Or how about the time when he stole the Emperor's underpants? Every last pair that he owned?
Oh my.
Don't fucking chest the sword, not the left.
Yes, I thought that one was very funny. I've missed Wander. I hope that he's been good here.
Oh, he has. No, he's searching for something. But he's taking his time.
Searching. Both the garden snake and Tusi look at each other, like they exchange glances, and there's this like brief moment of silence between them, and you're fairly certain they're telepathically talking at the moment. And then you see as Tusi bows to you and says, "He is not searching. He is banished."
Oh,
I mean,
hence why he runs away.
my Gramps was banished from the Kudri Coast, but he was always searching, even if he didn't know it. He created quite a large wave of change, and I have no doubt that whatever Wander did must have had good reason.
Just
It's not what he did. It's what his father did. Both the garden snake and her look at each other again.
Well, I felt like there's a lot of tension there.
You
Just
should
as-
be careful. His father is powerful and volatile, and recently that put him in bad terms with the Emperor of Shaola.
Huh.
The garden snake says, "Bad terms is not the word for it. Bad terms is when you say something rude. They are not rude. This was assassination." "Oh, it was just an attempt."
Tipped on who?
His father attempted to kill the sleeping king, or so the rumors go.
Or so the rumors go.
If he wanted to, why? If he did, had a reason.
The stories say that he broke in to the palace in Zhou-Binyan, fought through all of the guards, and made it all the way to the sleeping king before they were banished away by none other than the emperor themselves. The emperor had to call on divine powers to get him to leave the palace, summoning a wind from the gods to blow him all the way from northern Shaola to the southern tip of southern Shaola.
It's quite far.
But it would not be enough to kill his father. He will be back, and in the meantime, those close to him are as well banished.
I don't know why. I'm sorry, I might be not as known much
His
about
father
Shala.
is a famous trickster and a powerful shapeshifter. It would not be hard to impersonate someone close to him.
Ah, I see.
Ah.
I see.
That's why. makes sense.
So he either had to leave or be okay with putting the Emperor and the Sleeping King in danger, which would made him a traitor in more than name. To be a traitor is worse than being banished. One who is banished might someday come back.
The Wander. Protect Sleeping King and Emperor.
Alice just thoughtfully stroking her chin at this. Ah,
But if he is looking for something... They look at each other again. He might be looking for his father. If he brings him in, then he would no longer be banished.
See.
At which point the garden snake says, but this would be a very stupid idea.
glance over.
Oh, I don't know. He might be able to talk to him. The garden snake kind of half lids her eyes and just like looks right at you, Hanu, and says, do not let him meet his father, or you will all suffer.
I will keep my eye open. But there are many layers to this. I am uncertain even an open eye will truly matter.
Oh, well, Wander is very, very trusting. I'm certain that he would ask his friends for help.
I'll surely be there for him when he does. So we do a lot of things for our friends.
Ensure that he stays alive. And the closer he is to his father, the less likely that is.
Does his father have a name?
Many. And he has many faces. Though history knows him as the Monkey King.
Snaps her fingers. Gotcha. Figured, honestly. The thing about picking fruit kind of like ticked me off.
Dylan goes like, kind of like goes back in his head and just like, there's a little light bulb light up. His eyes kind of like widen. It's like, oh, I read about this.
She nods to you.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Wow, that explains a lot about Wanderer.
As that is going on, and the conversation of Barak mentioning that if Pridwin picked Zazdish Volshevnik to be the headmaster of the Arcanum, then he mustn't be too untrustworthy. And that sort of remarks from a few people about keeping your enemies close kind of like start to fade out in your minds, Armin, as you think back to the last time you saw Pridwin. As we flash back to a week earlier in the hospital. But we're going to take 15 minutes before getting into that.
If
cue in 15 minutes of Tirana emo music in the corner.
Good.
Cry it in my sleep. These wounds will never heal.
Also, Sapphire, do you like Babette's final form?
I saw it.
Terrible.
It's too strong. I don't know what to do.
I had the idea at work, and I was like, I cannot rest until I have made this, and I'm so mad.
I love it.
Should have made it T-Pose.
Oh, I love it. That would have been too strong. That would have broke the server. Oh, what are you trying to think? Oh no, not that. Sorry.
Don't worry, to make it T-Pose, you just draw the arms straight. That's all you gotta do.
So
It's kind of hard
question.
to tell.
So Hani are probably gonna talk a little bit about this. What is Hani's impression of that story so far? 'Cause he was looking at you as
Yeah. You'd see that there's a glint that she gets, especially whenever they've that her and Zale have been talking about timelines and like all these things and connections. So those cogs are turning. She's like, "Ooh, there's enough lies and truths in here. I want to figure it out."
yeah. Zell's kind of in the same boat. And Zell's kind of like definitely the meter when he was talking about like trying to assassinate the Sleep King and everything. It's like, in any regard, if he did or did not, he had a reason
Yeah.
to assassinate the king or to confront the Sleeping King about something. So what was it that he would go against, like, basically his own vows? Yeah. To protect. Was what he did was for the greater, or was actually for good, and was portrayed as evil?
Like, because the one thing with
Don't
the
know.
Monkey King, there are stories that the Monkey King is just there to help anyone who knows the call.
But then,
Pure of heart and all that other stuff, so she's like, interesting.
Yeah, so who, and that leads the thing, because John knows his fucking history. At least the thing, did someone request help for the Monkey King to confront the Emperor, the
Something.
Sleeping King?
We'll see.
Who was that?
Also, Gamadeus.
Sorry. Honey and Zen would definitely was the right choice for this talk. Because that's Honey and Zen were fucking.
Paranoia ensues over in that corner. There's fucking Toronto listening to Linkin Park in another, and then here's Ember with these fucking memes he keeps
I
pulling
don't know
out.
what he's talking about.
I can take 14 werewolves in a fight, right? Zooms in on the bard face. In a fight, right? I'm like, God damn it.
So good.
It's just standing there listening, taking all this in, chewing some grass.
Yeah.
That Dragon War was interesting. I want to talk to Zaman.
Someone's like, oh, this is a lot of layers of awkward.
Yeah, it even makes freaking Barak and which, like, to be fair, it's not actually that hard to make Barak feel like awkward. But it even
I
kind
get
of makes
it.
like Demetrius doesn't on the surface look like it because his action never changes. But like he remarked on it, which means that like underneath he was like unnerved by that guy, and that says a lot.
It's unnerving when you can't read a person. And it literally just doesn't make sense.
Demetrius is just detect thoughts like all the time, reading everybody's surface
Yeah.
thoughts. Like
That's what I was
Like,
saying. Can't read those thoughts up there.
he is not a fan.
God damn it.
Damn.
I forgot that meme format existed, I'll be real with you.
He, like Pridwin, has the inscrutable trait, so that you can't actually like read what's going on with them.
Yeah. He was the freaking principal of the school for a reason. Redwin chose him for.
Yeah, a black dragonborn.
Mm-hmm. When you said that, I was like, oh, this is gonna be interesting.
I'll do
You
my best.
you will come visit me, and we will.
Yeah, it
talk.
was Will. That's what I was like.
Like, well, fucking okay.
Not just like, could you? No, you will come visit me in the kingdom. No time, no date. Just you will.
Well, Garmin didn't remark on his last name and stuff, so he was like, he's like, there are things that we should probably talk about then, because I get a feeling that you don't know anything about your people, and I will tell you about your people because all Dragonborn must know about their people, and this is very important to him.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, I mean, there's a reason why he's a principal. He's going to teach.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
You go to the principal's office, Zarvin. Haha, not every student goes to the principal's office. Haha.
This is the one extracurricular I don't want. No, I'm kidding.
At the school, there's definitely like lots of rumors that this guy is secretly practices necromancy or all sorts of scary shit about him, right? That he like knows ancient, dark, draconic magic and stuff. Like he's like people are like he's like Snape if Snape was the principal, all right? If he was the headmaster of Hogwarts, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's like being at the Arcanum right now. If Snape was the principal.
Oh my god, yeah, that's fucking. Dude, Dude, there was a moment I was playing a Go and Steady and I can't eventually. Fuck. Prince of Headmaster Snape. Oh. All he needs a Black Dragon Boy already. Just like, cool! Back Reptilians always have an interesting idea in my mind for a lot of things.
Right, and I was just getting more and more meek between Barack and that fucking guy.
Yeah, just sandwich in between. Like,
And then even Demetrius is all like, yeah, that one I would be afraid of too. It's all like, thanks, Demetrius.
thanks, just make it worse.
Fuck.
Thanks. My social awkward ass is already having fucking anxiety. Thanks for
But you know,
it.
Zara puts politely, I appreciate the sympathy.
But please go away. I want my space. I'm glad Zell wasn't there, because that would have been like trying to help you out. It was great that wasn't there. Oh man. But interesting meeting Lucia.
Yeah. Asks for name, doesn't give last name. I don't recognize your accent. I was raised in the Costa Rica. Interesting sword you got there. How did it end up in your possession? It's complicated.
I love how people that we kind of like we relate to, me with Dimitri and you and fucking that guy, we're just straight to fucking points in the conversation. Hey, what's your star sign? Hey, what's that sword? What's your last name? Like, oh,
But, like, clearly this boy must be hiding secrets. Like, no, you just really push me in a very aggressive manner right now, and I feel like really uncomfortable. Please stop.
I came out to have a good time, and I'm feeling so attacked right now.
I don't know. Demetrius knows all of your guys' secrets. Like, I mean, like as far as there is to know so far, right? He was just poking to poke because he felt like.
And Zale tried to conversate with him, and he's like, "Don't conversate with me."
He wanted
most
to like
aggressive
make a
way
point.
possible.
Yeah. Friggin' Demetrius has like
Assert
a
dominance
serious...
in the weird way.
He wanted to make it clear that he wanted to make it clear that he thinks. I mean, because it's been noted that Brilliant Pillar and your group are kind of like in both vying for the same position, and so in a way you're kind of like the competition for a position that's paramount to saving the world. And he looks at like your guys as like decision making choices and the fact that a lot of them were prompted by Zale seeming to just like do things, right? That he's like, that's why he knew it was the fool, all right. He knew it was the devil, all right, but he wanted to make the comment on the fool.
Make you out for a fool.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same
like,
time, it's because he also knew that you were going to be nervous about the devil because he thinks that that makes you like also vulnerable, all right? You know, like it makes you potentially like something that could be influenced by the devil, all right? Because they don't really fully know the extent to what a god who has their major sign for you has over a person. I mean,
yeah.
they accept that it like influences your traits to a certain degree, right? And there seems to be like, some sort of connection between gods and the people that are born in their month, but they're not fully certain to what extent that is. So in his mind, that's just like that mystery element combined with the fact that you're, unreliable, and it is, y'all are chaotic, right? Barak is lawful good, so everything they like, he can at least steer like Barak in the lawful direction, right? Of like doing things like with like logical plans and like with predictability, because you know how Barak is gonna react.
You gotta be unpredictable, mate.
Yeah, I mean that's y'all's strength, but it's the same thing some people view as weaknesses, so it's just funny.
No,
Fun
it's
fact.
great. No, it was
I mean,
a case
unpredictability and then throwing his arm in front of it is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was really the case of like Zoe was kind of getting annoyed because he understands, yes, we're kind of competing for the same position, but we're trying to fucking save the world.
Yeah.
I really am not trying to compete with you for decisions.
Yeah, and then Demetrius starts flexing dominance over you, and you were not having a great day.
Listen, this is the difference
I was just
between
like, really?
Cocytus and like the laid-back culture of the Kuri Coast. We're like, we just like getting along, guys. Look at our
Yeah,
islands.
right?
We just, like, we're
Laid-back
just chilling. And then in Cocytus, they're like, I'm about to get a fucking story saying about me, bitch.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, and Cocytus, they're like very philosophical, so they believe that like the nature of things is like very important, and they've got all these like ideas that about like there are things that like their natures control them, or you control your nature. And that's the point of philosophy, is to like control your nature through like rigorous thinking and like self-reflection. And so they value like they've got like an interesting mix between like lawfulness and the importance of the individual, right? But there's also like a sense of individual responsibility that exists in the Cocytus that's a little different than in other places. Right? It's it's just it definitely is a different cultural approach to things.
Mm-hmm. No, it was
Coterie Coast versus Cocytus.
No, it was a
They
good.
both enjoy a simple lifestyle. They would definitely.
I did enjoy it though. It was a clash of two cultures.
And also get shit on Zell. He read a diary that you didn't know you had.
Zell doesn't have a lot of secrets because he doesn't even fucking know most of his shit. So it's the thing.
I mean,
of, like,
he hid all of the ones you did.
Well, it wasn't secret. It's more of a case of it's just insecurities that Zell has. Not really, but he pretty much open sleeve on that shit. He's not really like keeping it secret. Have you seen Zell lie? Bobette knows. Zell cannot lie for shit. So he doesn't really lie. He just wears the open sleeve.
I just like, as this all is going down, like all those tense moments, Igor's just there with this like little bow tie on. It's just like
if Gwen was around, or if Gwen came, but Igor would be.
Yeah, so that's why Igor has this little bow tie. He looks so spiffy, and then he's just having a good time getting pits and scratches. It's like, yeah, I like this.
While the two people are. Oh, yeah, no, it was worth just going into like, really, man. are really fighting about this shit. You do your way, I do my way. We're both trying to save the world, so let's save the fucking world. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you were trying to make friends and he was not. That was the issue.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Mhm.
She's like, first day in school, you go up to the lunch table, and Demetrius just slaps your lunch tray out of your hands.
Damn, you got treated just like I did when I was in the temple.
It's just like...
We're just a transfer student. Alright, I get it. I know what this fucking feels like.
Just, you think you got what it takes? Boy?
Zella's just always gonna be always the transfer student in every location. It gets either that treatment or another treatment. I miss the old ladies in the rot. They were really nice.
Don't worry, they totally also weren't trying to buy something from you.
I don't care. They were nicer than Dimitri.
So, it is just after the fight in Pridwin's Manor. You can still hear Belle's voice in the back of your mind. Still see those flames burning their way down the carpet to the end of Pridwin's Manor. That feeling of fear still somewhat sits deep inside of your stomach. The hours have passed, and the doctors informed you that he's going to be recovering probably for the next couple of weeks. But his tongue will never heal back. Hanu sat up making tea just outside. Tirana sits next to her father's bed, hand in her lap. Seth sleeping on a bed nearby.
Someone will be giving a prayer for the hermit.
I put you all in danger, and I am deeply sorry for that. Still looking at her father.
If that was Zell or Rue or Anu or anybody else, I probably also wouldn't have been able to hold back myself.
See her hands clench on the side of her lap. We're going to do something about this, aren't we?
Of course. It's just we weren't going to get anything, I don't think, from that moment.
Why didn't he tell us that was going to happen?
Sarman looks over for them. Probably because of the reactions we may have had to that. Or he may actually have wanted to do that for a while. I don't know. But he was confident that it would help us to know what he said.
But our enemy has a name. And I won't forget it. I will take more from him than he has taken from us. I will watch till everything he thinks he is building is nothing but flames.
Zarman will let her sit there with that for a minute. I don't think I ever fully asked you. Why do you fight?
So that those I love can live. But is this living? She looks at her father.
I don't think torturing somebody else it would be either.
I'm not talking about people here. We're talking about gods. We've gone to other worlds that tells us what? That there's a different life out there. One where my father's tongue wasn't ripped out. One where Zale's was. One where somebody else's was. A different world for everything we might or might not dream. And in each one of them, the gods play their game.
I'm curious to ask them why myself.
Not interested in somebody having the opportunity to spin pretty words and fancy illusions or enchantments that might make any of this okay. Because that's all it would be. A glamour. A story. Well, I won't forget this one. Not anytime soon. No. Not ever. She stands up and she looks at a letter that's sitting on the dresser. Same one you had all received, and separately invitations to the ball. And I know I'm angry right now. Maybe I'm saying things that I'll regret. But there are some things that I know I will never forget. But all I see now is red. Which is why I will not go to this ball. Tell the others that tell the others to be careful.
You too. And as sad as the surrounding may be with it, it's also time for you to spend time with your brother again. Only conditions of that could be better. But speaking of things we should never forget, I don't know how much pain you were in when you happened to have seen us arrive the day we did. I'm curious to see what you do.
She looks over in Tyseth's direction and sits back down next to her father. Days go on like that. Visit and stay often and check in on her.
Yeah, Zarman would visit in the evenings after training and practice dancing with Ruth.
You see her sit down, your mind comes back to the sounds of the ballroom and music of the band from Wisteria and the Advocates, and as it goes off into this rocking, encore, the queen stands up from her throne, and you see as Wisteria walks like across the stage, like right in front of her, and the queen takes the wine glass that was being offered next to the wine bottle next to the wine glass that was being offered to her, and she takes the whole thing, shakes it up, busts the end off, and sprays it right over the entire band, and then just throws the entire bottle into the crowd. And as you watch it shatter off in the distance, she turns around to you guys and says, "All right, let's fucking go and talk about something worth talking about."
Someone nods.
And she steps around. You see as Lady Lasara steps behind her, flanking, always on guard. And Vashti joins you guys once more. And as you guys make your way towards the end, Vashti stops at the entrance, and she looks at all of you and says, "When you are done, come and talk to me. We have important matters to discuss as well."
Understood.
Alright. Keep a sharp eye. She'll nod. And follow.
So you see the guards open up a pair of doors, and all of a sudden Marcellus kind of like steps out, and he looks at you all, and he looks a little awkwardly at the queen, who's like, "Oh, Marcellus, how fares the evening?" "Oh yeah, of course, I was doing very important spy business, and I have good leads, but I will discuss them with you later. By the way, thank you, Hanu, for everything that you provided earlier. It was invaluable."
She gives finger crossbows and says, "I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about." It's a little flourish. Pockets her fingers. Yeah.
Because I'm curious, when he says super secret things, is he lying?
Insight check.
Because I'm fucking curious
And the whol group was gathered to go
Nope.
with at this time.
It's
So
a super
anybody else
secret
that
shit.
would be
Brazil is
might
super
as well.
secret.
She knows it's kind of difficult to actually try to figure out what a spy
Jeez,
is thinking.
fucking Eliza, 31.
Yeah.
That's your 2031.
The queen like snaps at the guard there and goes, well, clearly this is not going to work. Come on, idiot. Another place. And like Marcellus like steps like out of the door and like closes it, and Hanu and Babette and Eliza, you can pretty much tell that that guy was probably hooking up with some noble in that room. You can tell by like the tossing of his clothes and his demeanor. The rest of you have no idea. He's on some top secret spy shit. And the queen continues on towards down the hall with the rest of them, completely ignoring the whole scenario. At which point Marcellus like actually like joins with your group, and he's like, "Oh, and good timing. Just in time for the important meeting, the one about Wildevere. Am I correct, Marcellus? If you say one more word, I would have you beheaded." Oh yes, of course. Until the secret room with all of the things. Yes. I knew that. I was just seeing if we could draw some of the more idiotic onlookers into getting closer. You know me. And
Stella's literally face palming, shaking his head as she's walking.
you make your way into this closed off room, and it's really just clearly like living quarters for probably guests and dignitaries. But Zale, you can tell when you walked through it that it's been warded for non-detection. Like pretty much all of the rooms here have been given that treatment, evidently. And as you walk into the room, you can you see as she walks and closes the door.
Did he?
Yeah, he cut out.
Okay. Well, I thought it was me for a second. Of course, we'll get to the super secret.
Yeah, I know, right?
Cut off communications. Just
yeah,
like
no,
it's
clearly the silence has been cast in this room, and now we cannot.
The non-detection's so good we can't even see it out of it.
Yeah, we can't even detect our own voices.
Bingham. Yeah.
Yeah.
Goods and.
All right, there we go.
Hey, welcome back.
Yep. All right. And okay, so you walk in, and you see as one of the guards walks out onto this porch through a pair of glass doors. There's this golden like filigree that makes most of the archways and across the furniture here, and marble flooring with imported carpets, and this big lush four-postered canopied bed. And it's clearly just living quarters, but all of the quarters here have been warded for non-detection. And you see as one of the guards walks outside, she closes the glass doors and pulls the curtains closed out there. And the other one stays out in the hallway, and the door closes behind you with Marcellus kind of leaning against it, arms crossed, and sort of fiddling with his shirt and trying to kind of straighten himself out a little bit. And you see as the queen turns after closing the doors and faces you and says, "So, thank you again for biting me earlier, Simon.
Of course.
Some people take drastic measures, get a point. And we are running out of time for people to have inaction where they could have action. I understand that you have been very active here. Gridwin has kept me up to date on your attempts to face off against the Vox problem. This is very much appreciated. While I can understand their frustration, their timing is very ill-placed. It would seem that everybody has lost their will to fight just when we need it the most. That, or the fight they have, is being misdirected. I am hoping that the fight that you have might be directed towards something that could save lives. I do not want to dally on the details or skirt around this too much. I need your help. And, as you no doubt understand, the Crown can compensate quite well. We have helped you much since you have arrived here. Though, I do not feel that with you, I need to flex with certain details like that. And the cause that we have here requires that mindset. Unfortunately, we are facing a stalemate in this war. Our navy struggles to keep order amongst its many fleets without strong leadership. The Omidori Navy has taken advantage of that at every turn. I have the Lion's Guard, commanded by Knight Commander Garen Lionscrest, keeping some semblance of order, but they were meant to lead battles on land. And for all of Garen's many skills, he is not an admiral. Lacking their presence on the battlefield, we've had to supplement our soldiers with mercenaries, guilds, and the Knights Arcane. It's preventing us from losing too many soldiers and too many lives. But it is not an optimal use of our resources. We can keep victory out of their hands, but there is no path to victory ourselves. But I might have a solution. Have you ever been to Wildefear?
No, we heard about it though.
Had aspirations, that was personally. Carry on.
Can Sylvanus, the Archdruid, acts as the sovereign of Wildefear. My grandmother made a pact with them that shut down the Veritas Arsenal, turning the city-state into a ghost town. I'm told that when it was active, it could produce 100 warships in a day. But the reason the pact existed was because, in a very short period of time, it stripped the nearby forest of the Heartwood and turned that entire land bridge into swamp. I would not wish to have this as a long-term issue. The Heartwood, it holds a special place in the history of all Arvalians, and it has been diminished enough as it is. But the Yellowmites crave industry. If they were here, they would cut down the Heartwood in its entirety. I ask that you go talk to the Archdruid, tell him of our issue, make him see our side of things, so that we might reactivate the Veritas Arsenal with better ships. I can make sure that I can have the Lion's Guard in their most optimal position. And once more, we might actually see a path to victory.
She takes a deep breath, narrows her eyes, just glancing at the group before staring up ahead.
Just as a Sippy, he kind of stares at you, going, "Go on."
I feel like there's a foreign agent influencing things because they know Avel's strength, so might as well cripple that. But I would be concerned as, even if we did reactivate this factory, that influence can just also use this against Avel. They want us to act in a very traditional way. It's just giving them more ammunition. But there's always more to be seen underneath the surface, and what I could at least give you is... I will look underneath and see what we can find so you can blindside these eyes that seem to want Avel to fall. And it might actually be the most simple solution out there. Who knows?
I can tell you this, that very few would expect that an Arvalian queen would overturn something that had been put in no less than 2 generations before. Such a thing is unheard of. I will no doubt receive much criticism for it, which is exactly why I think it will be unexpected and can give us an edge against the Omidoris. There are always a million people trying to take advantage and trying to subvert Arvalian's culture and power. For every one that gets through, 100 are stopped. This is just the way these things work. However, when something does manage to get through, all we can do is react as best we can. If you find something else, I am always open to fresh ideas. That is what has made Avel strong for many, many thousands of years. And what will continue to make it strong for thousands of years to come. But Avel relies on its people. And those people are dying.
Of course.
Do not take too long seeking your other solution.
Understood.
I trust that you will do the best that you can. And that you will always act in what ways you think are right. That is why I like you.
Thank you.
Sorman nods.
Don't deserve that much praise. Thank you so much.
Please. Humility. That might be a good thing in the Coterie Coast or in Shaola. But it won't get you anywhere enough.
Smiles at that.
Okay, how about this? Your water shapers all suck here. Get better. Just face. Or is that actually
a joke? It is not
Maybe
weird.
after this war, we will see a newfounded relationship between the Coterie Coast and Avel. And we will learn many things from each other. We can learn much on water shaping. Perhaps we could teach Coterie Coast that there is more than one pair of clothes for a week.
Queen, if you don't mind me asking, if we did find an alternate solution, what would be the best, I guess, saying? Where would you want it the most? Because, thinking about it, if we could somehow strengthen the ground combat, would you be able to send the Knights Arcane to the flames?
That is an impossible task. There's no way that we could catch up to Yalom's generations of industry and military practice. It is simply not possible.
But if you have the smallest amount of resources and use them wisely, you could overturn a war. It's not quantity, but quality, and sure, Yellum has quality by its side. But they can't see everything.
Since they have partnered with Omado, that makes them in control of 2/3 of the gunpowder supply in the world.
But their weakness is magic. So.
And we have it in abundance. But we cannot teach every commoner how to cast magic.
Oh, so we.
No, I can understand where you get the trouble in that.
So we really don't want to get too much into a war table discussion, but what I think Sale is talking about is you can create a distraction large enough. Get that very well magic users in. I don't know.
We'll see what kind of support. Yeah, we will see what kind of support we can get from Wildevere, the factory reopen or otherwise.
Yes, we have to balance the resources to Homefield.
Yes. And if you do that, then I look forward to seeing this enthusiasm for war table discussions in the future. But trust that in the meantime, the brightest military minds that Orville has to offer are working on this. After all, I'm working on it. She smirks. And the wattle will not wait for its queen.
No, it should not.
She opens up, she pulls back the curtains, the guard on the other side ends up turning, and as it does, you see that for a moment he stumbles, and you see an arrow sticking out of his throat. And instantly, the queen is out on the other side and has pulled the guy's shield up off of it and is using his shield to block him as she pulls him back in and shouts, "Sharpshooter on the walls! Somebody get somebody out there, damn it!" And pulls him back in and lays him out on the bed. You can see him bleeding out onto the bed as she pulls the arrow right. Oh, she holds it on the end and she looks around. She goes,
"Yeah, Zarman will put 5 points of lay on hands on the guard."
And he rips it out at the same time you put that healing in. It's sealing the wound and stopping the bleeding. And he stabilizes. And you see as she unfurls a note from off of the end of it. And as she looks at it, she looks over at Marcellus across the room and says, "Marcellus." Hands it over to him. He goes, "Oh, well, okay. Yes, understood. It was nice seeing you all, but the world's greatest spy must leave. You know how the world goes. In one moment and then out the next. Good luck to you on the whole Wildevere and stopping the war thing." And he steps out onto the balcony, and you see as a spellcaster goes in, and he's kind of like looking off, like he's like scouting something in the distance. And this healer comes over and like starts to like dedicate healing to him now that you've stabilized him. And she stands up and she wipes her blood-covered hands off on one of the blankets and just tosses it off to the side and looks at you all and says, "Were there any more questions?"
No, I don't think you can answer right now, so I think we should go.
Oh. Would any of us be able to catch a quick glance at what that note said?
Yeah, you can. I'd say Eliza, and you can give me a perception check.
I was gonna say, Eliza's here. And she rolls like shit.
I'm gonna see if I can channel Divinity. I took a short rest. Let's see what happens. Okay, never mind.
No, it's hard to see, and he immediately takes it and crumbs it up into his hand and stuffs it in a pocket when he walks outside and starts scanning. This healer comes in and starts, fully healing this guard that's laying on the ground or on the bed, and you see as this another figure in white robes, this elven woman, walks out onto the balcony, and Marcellus points to something off in the distance, and then the spellcaster taps him on the shoulder, and they both disappear. And the queen looks at you all and says, yes, just another day. Good luck, and I hope to hear good news from you.
Would we know the make of that arrow?
I would say that with that, you would be able to tell that the arrow was Omadorian style.
Descent ninjas. Out of character.
Yeah, that's
out of character.
Welcome to
character.
the life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is it Ninja Assassin? Love that movie, by the way.
And
yeah,
with
head out.
As you step out, you see that Vashti is waiting for you. And she says, so, I trust that you are all prepared for more, how would one say, deep conversation. She looks at your guys' faces and like judges each of the looks on y'all's various expressions.
Dell's like really on this point.
Yeah,
He's not shocked anymore.
If it takes her like a second or two to do that, well, as long as it didn't end like the last one, it should be fine.
We're always deep dragged in, so.
You see as she leads you guys outside, and you see a car pull up that's very similar to Eliza's family car, but rather than white, it's pure black. And across, as the doors open up, you can see that inside it's much deeper than it is outside. And she says, after you.
It's a car of holding, she says, slipping in.
Driving in style. And you throw hops in.
Wait, where's Will? Oh gosh, I think we missed Willem. I think he was driving late.
He's fine. It's like Zella's like loosening up his collar at this point.
Okay.
You guys climb into this vehicle. The inside of it stretching for about 20 feet. These long, plush, velvety benches. As you sit down in it, it gets absolutely quiet outside. The sound of the band playing, everybody going through their music and laughing and dancing, and the fireworks bursting in the air. Gone. Vashti sits across from you in her own bench at the very end, and as she does, you see that next to her is this large mechanical construct, humanoid-like, but almost beetle-like in construction. And looking at it, you immediately recognize it, actually. You saw this in 1983 when you met the Avalian alchemist.
Oh. Oh. That makes kid sounds cute. Like, pink sounds interesting, really.
Oh yeah, didn't they say something about sending a lawyer?
Vashti says, "We covered all of the expenses and opened communication with the Avalian alchemist. As a result, thank you for that. They have been notoriously enigmatic throughout history. Even now," turns and looks at the mechanical construct, which a voice comes out through, and you recognize it, though it's slightly robotic behind this filter. And, well, one can't be too safe. Anyways, why would I step outside? I have no reason to, until you give me one. I would like more of an explanation on what this is. This is Brave Albion. At which point, the machine, you hear on the other side of it the sound of like breaking, like glass shattering, coming from out of the robot. And then all of a sudden, "You're lying." No, not at all. Looks at the rest of you. These are the paradoxes who we have recently inducted.
And Hanu slaps at the window. And this is an automobile.
So just slowly, he's at a point where he puts the hand on the mouth slowly on Hanu. It's just like,
I love Hanu so much.
Giving like a little challenging and amused expression with their eyes to the robot.
It's been a long day.
Oh, it has been.
By the way, it doesn't feel like you've moved yet. Like, so you're still like, feels like you can't see outside of the windows. They're like so dark that you can't see anything outside of it once you got inside. You can't hear anything either. And it's
very Persona 4 style.
Absolutely still. And as you're sitting there, the robot turns like around, like the whole torso twists and turns into the opposite direction. And you see as Vashti leans in and says, "The Avalian alchemist is in a unique position to be able to help with our future concerns, which deals with you all."
See, a little more explanation would be nice.
Well, now that you know who our enemy is, and how dire the threat is, that war approaches. We are doing everything we can to make sure that we are prepared for that war, securing assets, intelligence, and weapons. We have categorized all of the most powerful assets in the world throughout history, thousands of years, all placed and categorized by Primus. Thanks to the information that we have achieved and learning about each of you through Babette and through Constantine, we have learned what we believe might be optimal items, weapons for the war ahead, based off of your dispositions and your skill sets. Primus has helped categorize it through all of our records, and through our own screenings put together by Fitz and Locke, a list has been determined. You watch as in front of you, these images start to appear, floating pieces of paper. And as they float in front of you, you can see like etching on them, almost like a watercolor, like painting, these pictures of various items and descriptions writing underneath them. They kind of float in towards you guys in a jumbled mess, but as they get closer, you can see them kind of gravitating towards certain members. And as they do so, she says, "There is a secret knowledge to the way magic items work. You may have noticed that there is a limit to how many powerful artifacts you can use or tap into. There is a law for this. In Urot it is well known. The soul is divided into 3 parts, and for each part there can be a separate self, and for each separate self, each separate looks at you through the meta world, Zale, and into you, Mashad. Persona
I didn't see anything. What are you talking about?
And for each of those persona, you can bond to a powerful magical artifact. The spark, the anima, and the shadow are the personas that are born into all of us. But our decisions and our circumstances determine 2 other personas. Those 2 personas can expand our capabilities if we give them power. Bonding them to another persona gives them reality. This forms what we in Brave Albion call kits. A kit is something that might be familiar to some of you. She looks at you, Zale. The ability to expand how many items you can attune to is something that some come to intuitively. Once an item is bonded to another persona, it becomes part of that persona forever. And it can no longer be used with any other item that would be outside of that. However, by looking at your lineages and your histories, as well as your dispositions and your skills, Primus has put together a list of artifacts throughout history that could be of advantage to you. These will not be easy to achieve. So if you decide to pursue one, let us know, and we will provide what we can.
Does it have a
Midwin
map?
made it. No, the items have descriptions and stuff on them that are separate, kind of compiled for it. I'll send you guys these things afterwards.
Gotcha. I was asking for a map layout.
No, it's just
Gotcha.
floating pieces of paper that kind of
Right,
describe.
it just has a picture and like a description.
Gotcha.
And as the floating pieces of paper make their way to you, they roll up into these scrolls and then become tangible as they land right in your laps. And she says, Pidwin made it very clear before these events that these items would be necessary in the days to come.
So I'm kind of just looking through his. Laughs a little bit as he's raising his. Honestly, that would be interesting.
Now, some of you, we are still compiling information on. However, and she goes, like, she looked at Eliza and Babette, and then she looks at you, Ember, when she says, however. Certain opportunities that had been discarded became available recently. Tell me, Ember, do you know much about the elemental plane of fire?
He will raise one eyebrow, and the stick of grass that he's chewing on, he will take that out of his mouth. Enough. Why?
Then perhaps you know that the most common accesses to the elemental planes are at the elemental temples. These are placed at ley lines around the world that are in tune with the elemental planes. However, these are not the only ways to access those planes. Some places touched by especially powerful creatures from those planes can find themselves linked to it. I wonder if Master Thorpe told you about the link in Anisadora's urn.
He'll lower his one raised eyebrow. He will glance to the side quickly. Yes, it was mentioned.
Well, it happens to be that Anisadora's urn is the place where one item of import is found that we had already been planning on amending. She looks at you, Anu, and you see this card in front of you that shows a sort of mask of some sorts. It just looks like it only probably covers the eyes. And reading it, it says that it has something to do with being able to like offer divinatory abilities or like the ability to see things as they truly are. And that it can evidently give you the ability to look at the writing in Anisadora's urn safely. To mention that its last known location is in Castellon. But he looks at you, Ember, and says, but a little known detail about Anasidor's urn is that it was created through a great phoenix. This phoenix, and its death, created the burning magma that creates the river of glass that cuts its way across the Acheron Peninsula, creating wildfires throughout the regions. This place can be difficult to traverse, but if the phoenixes were on your side, a task that would have been considered otherwise impossible before now, then perhaps you might be able to gain more from Anasidor's urn than just that mask.
Ember's just gonna throw Honu a glance and then turn back and
She does the same kind of rumble that Gramps usually does too, and nods along with you.
well, I am always happy to assist however I can.
The robot's
gonna-
body turns back around and faces your guys' direction.
Ember's just gonna sigh a little bit and turn around for a moment. Just interesting.
I guess that's now I'm kind of curious. He kind of looks up as he's still kind of eyeing his paper, but kind of looks up. What will the Havilian Alchemist provide us with?
Well, we have not discussed it in detail yet. We were planning on, at which point the robot interjects and goes, it's obvious, isn't it? The only thing that they would want me to be able to assist on would be in transportation. That's right, isn't it? You want them to have access to my sky castle. Amongst your various other mini talents. Yes, but mostly my sky castle. They have very many places that they are going to have to travel in a short time. Yes, to save the world. And what are we saving the world from again? Vashti looks at you guys. Almost like she's curious to see what your answer would be.
So, kind of. Looks like he's kind of like thinking about the response a little bit. Amy. Guess it's an enemy of free will.
Does anybody have an actual answer?
The devil.
If you wouldn't have done that, I would have.
Yeah, he's just like, fine, we'll be philosophical, gotcha. Good night, you thing, Hanu.
That's preposterous.
Oh, it's very real.
You get used to it with these people.
Mm.
Brave Albion and the devil. That wasn't in the journals. I agree. I accept.
To protect the world from devastation. To unite all peoples within this nation. She just
when she says the journals, is that the journals that Babette's thinking of?
No. Who knows?
No? Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I said that out of character, so don't worry about it, guys, but I had to be so hard I had to hold it in. Like...
And with that, you hear a static change, and then suddenly a voice comes out from the robot and says, I will be here to provide assistance and communication.
Can I get your name?
That won't be necessary.
I see.
Very well. We can stop the space shuttle.
What? What?
At which point Vashti goes, yes, I suppose you can all get out now.
What?
Okay, can I? Since I didn't go through technology in 1983, can Zell get a fucking idea what they are in?
I don't know. You're inside of a vehicle that was bigger on the inside than on the outside. I don't know.
We went into the TARDIS.
It's like an evil clown car.
Yeah, which travels through space.
And time.
And time.
Is the Sky Castle some kind of like demi-plane?
That's actually an interesting question.
Summer's just gonna look.
The Sky Castle is capable of generating transportal doors only within a single material plane. They cannot take you to places that are outside of your sphere, but they could take you higher or lower or across continents.
Like a network. Huh. Genius, honestly. Huh. Album, man, this definitely creates amazing things.
Watch your step on your way out.
Okay.
Alright.
You open the door and you feel like this gust of wind coming up from below you as you look down between this about 1 foot gap between you and a wooden dock. And you look down and you just see clouds underneath you. And you realize that this vehicle is floating in the air and it's just absolutely not moving, but the thing in front of you is kind of bobbing a little bit. So it's a little unnerving seeing it. And this instant wave of vertigo hits you all. And as you all look up, you see this towering square structure, or just rectangular structure, stands several stories high, and it's just very blockish looking. There's nothing like on the outside of it. No fancy like designs, no windows really or anything, right? It's just a big old block of brick. And it's floating in the air, and it's got this one little dock here in front of it. And you can see a big set of double doors. At the top of it, you can see the kind of whipping flags of what look to be like little banners on the top of the tower. And as the wind flies up from underneath you, and you watch the giant talking robot step off onto the decks, it turns and it looks at you and says, "Welcome to the Flying Castle, the Arvalian Alchemist." And with that, we will pick up next.
Oh.
As from there,
Oh
you
boy.
get to explore the tower, see the war table, and make your preparations for where it is you guys want to go first with all of the items. I will send you guys the information individually on those things.
Gotcha. So what if... Okay. I mean, I would love to be
The
transported to Williverse.
details
Yeah.
on those things was Hanu. Yours mentions Castellon and Acheron. Babette, yours is a dagger that evidently was used by an angelic assassin that had been captured by the church at one point in time because it had tried to kill the archbishop. And that blade is locked away in pretty much their version of the Vatican. It's called Heaven's Edge. So it's in Stygia in Acheron. Also, in Stygia in Acheron, rumored to be in a temple in the in a temple in the province of Thalia, is the Visage of Delight and Disaster. That's recommended for Lib and Rue.
Hell yeah.
Oh, do they have different listings for Lib and Rue? Oh,
No,
fuck.
it's the same for the both of them.
Same for the both.
Okay.
Yeah, the Visage of Delight and Disaster seems to be something that's like thematically appropriate for both of them.
That sounds badass. That sounds badass.
And then they had for Zarman, there is a blade that is actually somewhere that you guys actually already own. The Abbey of St. Ava of Dragons. There's a sword there that is never really been taken out of it because anybody that's unworthy that tries to take it evidently gets burned alive by it. And so it's just stood there as like a monument for a long time. It's actually marking the space where a dragon was slain by that blade. And according to it, it's also recommending a suit of armor, though. And the armor was by the same person who that blade belonged to. According to the piece of paper, they wandered away after slaying that dragon, leaving the blade in the beast. And wandered away with their wounds into the Heartwood, where they eventually died. But they died while walking, and so they became a sort of spirit. So there's the suit of armor that goes with this blade is only on this ghost spirit that materializes during the coldest nights of the year, walking in the Heartwood.
So that's time sensitive for here soon.
Yep.
How do
Yep,
we also
it is.
pipe up? Wasn't there that one leprechaun that kind of is doing something in the Heartwood area? Is that still a thing? Did that get handled?
That is still a thing, but it is a different event. A lot of weird spiritual shit comes out of the The leprechaun thing has to do with rainbows and shit that comes out of the
Yeah,
Heartwood.
she's just like, there's
like,
a lot of weird
understorm.
stuff going on in Heartwood, guys. I kind of want to.
Oh yeah.
she mentions to the group, yeah, I really want to go. Oh boy.
That means in the direction where we want to go for the queen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, keeping it local for now wouldn't be a bad option, just for the sake of us being able to immediately go somewhere else from there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Then there's the piece of paper that went to Ember, and it showed a staff burning itself out of the inside of a tree. And it's called it Ignis, first staff of the Phoenix. And it said that it's only able to be found in the elemental plane of fire. So you'd actually have to go to the elemental plane of fire to get there. Which you could go to the elemental temple, but that's in Omidori territory, so it's that would be dangerous. You could still do it, but it's dangerous.
But that's why the burn was mentioned as the other method.
Method again.
You'd have to make sure your eyes aren't going to get burned out by it by going in. But yeah, you could use that as a gateway through it. Which the item that was recommended to Hanu is an item meant to help you get to be able to see inside of those flames.
Mm-hmm. Be like grabbing Ember by the shoulder and like, bro, Phoenixes. Yo. It's time, bro. Yeah.
Does Armin's sword have a name? Or was it?
The name is Honor Blade, also called Deernwin.
Ooh. Love you, Chance. I love you so much. Super fantasy nerd here.
I'm a Celtic mythology nerd, man. I'm
Yeah.
a mythology nerd in general.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it comes down to Welsh Celtic shit.
Hell yeah.
Oh gosh, so good.
Yeah.
Stuff the
And what was Zell's?
He doesn't get one.
Oh, I get one.
It's a
He gets
vanity.
a piece of paper that just says, haha.
Get fucked.
And that one just says Mage Eater Scythe. Or the Mage Eater.
You're chomp.
Hell yeah.
Well, first you were a king eater, now you're a mage eater. Chomp chomping.
I guess, follow the smart siren ways.
And it mentions that in order to get that, you would have to gain it from a aspect of death itself. The Grim Reaper. And that you would probably have to access it through the negative energy plane in order to be able to do it.
And where we're
You would have
in
to-
Wildveer.
And Wildevere. So you've got one of them actually goes out for B,
Hell yeah.
and hers also mentions Wildevere.
Hell yeah.
And where is the thing? Okay. Hers is actually related to the mountaintop of Wildevere, and says that if she goes to the mountaintop and talks to the archdruid there, that it'll be the first step on her path towards knowing true freedom. That's literally what it says on it.
Huh.
Oh, I also grabbed her by the
Suspicious at
shoulder.
all?
Be like, sis. Archdruid.
True freedom. That doesn't
Bro.
sound suspicious at all.
Dude.
What's Babette's dagger called?
Heaven's Edge.
Hell yeah.
I believe Heaven's Edge was the place where the angel was imprisoned, right? Or was I thinking the Vatican place, or
Yeah,
whatever?
it's
yeah,
the
the
vault
Vatican
in the
pla-
Vatican. Yeah.
Yes, Heaven's Edge is Heaven's Edge is the name of the blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
And it's
Yeah,
stories
I
about-
just mixed up the name of the place with the name.
Mhm.
All I heard from that is that we gotta do a heist in the Vatican, guys.
Mhm.
I'm down for that. We'll
Alright.
get to that.
Well,
This guy.
where is what is Eliza's? Oh.
Oh yeah.
And on. That's just. Do-do-do-do. Yeah, okay, there we go. No, they said they were still looking into it.
Ooh, okay.
Mysterious.
Yeah, right? Save the best for last.
Well, the thing about
right?
it is that Eliza is going to be the one who uncovers it. They just haven't heard it all.
Yeah.
Right, the problem is they didn't have Eliza looking for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That'd be amazing.
So good, so good.
Yeah, Eliza needs to just go up to them and be like, look, if you're having trouble finding something, that's like my thing. I don't know why nobody reaches out to me.
Here's my business card, actually use it.
Dude, I work for free.
I work for free.
As actually everybody else was getting ready to step out into the thing, just before everyone else was getting ready to leave, Vashti would have said, Eliza, not you. We must speak for a moment about your father.
Eliza will nod and just wait till everyone's gone.
She looks out to the vehicle at the rest of you and says, get comfortable and make good plans. We must act with haste. And the door closes, and you watch as instantly it's gone. No plume, no sound, no poof, no nothing. It's just
like
there,
the
and then it's
weird,
not.
like it was not there shit. Oh, that's weird. I hate that
And
shit.
We're all getting vertigo. We're all like, we'll be back later. We look over and they just fucking disappear. Fuck.
Eliza didn't go with then?
No, they held you behind in the vehicle to talk about things related to your father, and which you'll be preoccupied with for a little bit, which works out because you're going to be busy the next couple of sessions.
Yeah.
They will be keeping Eliza busy in the meantime.
But
She's gonna go on a side quest to find her dad while we're doing shit over here.
But Bet's
Yeah,
just
she's
gently
like-
pulling at the window, at the glass every single time.
Oh god, I didn't even think of that.
It's like a whole dramatic moment where Eliza, but it's like really awkward too.
Somewhere out there.
Exactly.
I was like, hey, Puppet, are you okay? I'm hearing some, like, music every single time I glance over here. Alright.